Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I'm planning to use a custom character in Unreal Engine for my previously built project called Dragon AI. Uh, the link to the project is in the description. So I'm using the to make my character. So to build a custom character in Unreal Engine, I'm using this website called Mixamo. So this website has set of animations and characters in the game in the website where I can use it for free. So I'll use this website for all my prototypes. So this has all the textures and animations and characters too. So for our purposes, we'll use a character called Archer with a bow and arrow. And I'm using this particular animation called the Pro Longbow Pack, which is already downloaded. So let's go ahead and extract it. So these are the set of animations, which is in FBX format. If it's in FBX format, then I can use it in Unreal Engine. Okay, so let's open our project which I was using for Dragon AI, which is the Dragon AI tutorial. So let's look into naming a custom character. So I'll just use an Indian female archer in Indian mythology. Okay, looks like Durga Devi had a bow and arrow. So we'll name a character as Durga. Okay. Let's go and create a duplicate and name this character as Durga underscore people. So we need to replace this particular character with our newly downloaded longbow character. So let's first drag and drop this particular Erika Archer bow arrow into our content browser. So on downloading this, you get a set of files. So they are material files, a skeleton file, a physical asset, and other stuff. Okay, looks like it has finished compiling. So we have the mannequin. So let's create an animation. So let's go to our BP character and click on mesh. And here we have a skeletal mesh with a simple queen symbol. So we need to change this to our skeleton, which we just downloaded, which is the archer. Okay, so this replaces the mannequin, the default one, but it looks like it's in the T pose. So we need to add an animation for this. For this, you need to change this particular value in anim class. Currently, we don't have an anim class, so we need to create an anim class. Let's compile and save this. Go to the animation blueprint. So click on that, and then we need to select our Erika Archer Bow Arrow skeleton, which we just downloaded. So let's name it the NNDP. So name it to the NPP on double clicking it. This is our animation blueprint. We don't have any pose right now, so we need to create a default pose here. From state, add. So add new state machine. And then we need to link this here. So on doing that, you can just name this as a new state machine, that's fine. So we have an entry point on double clicking on this particular state machine. And this entry point doesn't lead to anything. So we need to drag and drop and then add state here. So let's name this idle slash walk, which is our idle animation and walking animation. So we don't have anything right now. It's empty. So we need to download our idle animation and then our walking animation too. So let's look at this folder for some idle animation. Okay, we can just use this idle looking. So let's go to our character animation and then create a new folder called custom animations. Then let's drag and drop the idle looking here. So we need to change this none to a skeleton, which we had previously got it. And then the rest of the things remain the same. So let's import all. And then you get an idle animation here. So let's double click on it and check what it is. So this is our idle animation, which looks pretty sweet. So we need to create another animation. Which is basically walk and run. So let's look at run. There's a run here, and then there is a walk too. So let's drag and drop the walk. Again, change this to Erica skeleton import. So this is our walk, which is more like crouch based, which is fine. And then we can look for run. Change this to Erica skeleton and then import. So this is our run. So we need to have all these three animations in this particular state machine. So how can we do that? There is this thing called 1D blend space in Unreal Engine, which basically combines different animations and they blend each animation together. So let me just show you how to create a blend space. So go to animation and there's blend space 1D. So there's 2D which has an X and Y axis and there's 1D which has just one axis. For our purposes, we'll use a blend space 1D. And then select a skeleton which we downloaded. So let's name this blend space as walk idle walk pp. Walk blend space. Okay, so this is our idle walk blend space. So we need to get our so we have all these animations here. So let's first have the idle one, which will be dragged to the 0 position. And then we have the walk, which you can drag to the middle. Then we can do the run. Before we move further, we need to change the maximum x-axis value. Let's change it to 600. 600 is the maximum speed of the character. If we go to the character and then go to the character movement, you can see there will be this max walk speed called 500. So let's make it from 0 to 500. So as you can see, the x-axis is from 0 to 500, and let's change this to speed. So the speed is from 0 to 500. So these are the animations which you just dragged. So at the far end, we'll have the run. In the middle, we'll have the walk. So when we press control, this is how you're walking, and then you start running. It looks like the animations are not in place. So I'll have to go back. I'll have to go back to Mixamo. So we can use this particular animation for walk. Let's click on in place, and then we need to download this. Now we need to look for a run. So let's search for run. This looks too dramatic, so we better look for a slower run. This looks pretty good. So let's download this. And then we need to have a let's go ahead and remove the previous animations which we had. These were not in place, so it doesn't serve a purpose. Let's delete this. Drag and drop the walking animation. Change this to Erica Archer. Put on. Like it downloaded all the other stuff like my materials and everything, which was not necessary, but that's fine. Let's import this one too. Erica Archer and untick skeleton, not the skeleton image. Untick import mesh. So that would just download the animation. So as you see, we got the running. The same thing for breathing too. Untick import mesh. Import. Let's delete the. Let's go back to our idle blend space and delete these three errors which had previously dragged and drop. Okay. Just taking all this. Okay, that erased. Okay, so now we have a in place animation. So let's put the walking animation in the middle, the running in the right end, and idle in the left end. So if you press control and move through the animations, you can see that as the speed increases, the character changes his stats. Looks like the walking is still there. Oh, it looks like I've added the running here. So let's drag the running here. So as we move through the speed, the character starts sprinting accordingly. Okay, so we have the blend space ready. So let's go back to our animation blueprint and let's drag this blend space and attach this here. So we need to feed a speed to this particular character. So for that we need to add a variable name it speed, then change it to a float, and then correct the speed to this. So as you can see, as the speed increases, speed value increases, the character starts changing its animation. So let's test it out. It won't work for now because I haven't updated speed value. Or first change the world settings default character. Let's let's add an immediate one. So we need to change the default class to immediate class that is called underscore pp. Right now it's third person character. So for that we need to do right click, blueprint class, and a game mode base, I believe. So change this to bracket game. So as you can see, class, yeah, the default con class, we need to change this to Durga underscore BP. And pretty much everything else is the same. So let's come back here and change this to dragon game. Let's check if a new character is in. Okay. And it looks like the character is not animated. So that's because, so that's because we need to change the mesh here, and we need to change the anim class to our Durga anim BP. So on changing it, we can see that the animation is pretty clear here. Let's go back and see if it works. So as you can see, the animation is not running again. And there are a bunch of errors to this particular graph. So we need to check that out. It looks like the character ref from the Dragon PP is giving an error. So let's go to our Dragon PP. Check what the character. Okay, it looks like we're casting it to a third person character and then getting that. So let's change that to better to cast it to a character than a third person character so that we can change characters at any time. Or we can just change it to character. Or we can just change it to Durga underscore B. Could be better. Still a bunch of errors, so I don't know where this is happening. I've not set the character. And it looks like the character is for people. Change variable. And then accounts receiver. This is compiling fine. So let's hope the game Doesn't give out any errors. Okay. And it looks like limited carbon name. That's because the speed value is not updated. So for that we need to go back on animation class and then go to our event graph here. So there's this particular function called event blueprint update animation, and we have a try get pawn owner. So we need to get the pawn owner, get the character movement of this class, or better yet, cast it to Durga underscore BP, and then we need to get the character movement. Let's search for movement here. On getting the character movement, we can get the speed or the velocity of it. Okay, so if we go to our APP Mani, we can see that we are getting a character movement here of that particular character. And then using that movement, we are getting the velocity of it and getting the ground speed based on that velocity. And then there is a bool value called should move, which moves the character. So let's try to replicate this particular function. But before that, we also need to see the anim graph, how it's it. So they have a locomotion. Let's not go to the main state. So they're moving from idle to a walk and run. So when it is idle, they're just running the idle animation. And then there is walk and run. So we can also implement the same thing. So for that, let's go to our dragon Durga underscore BP. So new state machine. So we have idle here. Let's have a new add state here called idle. And then let this be walk and run. So in idle, we need to just have the idle animation. And in walk and run, we need to connect here and get back here. So we need to have a pool here. Let's add a pool here, should move similar to the default one, and then change this to a pool here and then add this here. If you are moving, you are moving from idle state to a walk and run state. And if you need to come back, then should move not or pool here, and then you need to connect. So that's how APP American is to. So you can check this here. So we have the locomotion, we have idle, so should move, and then coming, it's not topic. So we did a similar thing here. Okay, that remove the warnings. So let's go back to the. So now we need to update the speed. So for that we'll go back to our event graph. So we got the character movement. So we need to get its speed, get its speed. Sorry, velocity. which is our vector. Then from this velocity, length xy. So if we get the vector length xy, we can set the speed here. That's how you set the speed. Now we need to know if it is moving or not moving. So let's sequence it here to make it cleaner. From this first. So the sequencer basically checks if we have to move. So if we go to the ABP Manny event gun, so it gets the current acceleration. It checks if the acceleration is not equal to 0 and if the speed is greater than 3. If both the values are true, then the should move is set. So let's do a similar thing. So first we'll override this. We'll override one function, begin play function. So in the begin play, we'll set the blueprint character here. Set it to a character. Convert it to a variable. Let's name this character. And set this. So that's a begin play when we're setting the character. And next we are getting the character. It's validated get. Let's convert it to a validated get. And then we'll just get the character movement here. Rest of the things are the same. We're setting the speed. That's one. And in the next sequencer, we do the same thing. Get character. Convert to validated get. We get the current acceleration. This current acceleration we need to check if it is not equal to 0. And also we need to check if the speed is greater than a value, like greater than 3. That means the character is moving. Let's move this to. Then you set it to go here. So that takes care of the setup. So what we're just setting the speed here and then we are setting the should move. If we set the speed, the value of walk run is taken care of here. This speed value feeds to the idle blueprint which runs animation accordingly. So let's run and check if it is working fine. So it's idle. So when we start walking, you have walking animation and when you start, you have running animation. So that's it. The next video will consider and try to get that. Thanks. Like, share, and subscribe.